These 5 abnormal relationship behaviors will only seem normal to people who were raised in dysfunctional families. And let's be real, most of us have been raised in dysfunctional families. So let's check in and see whether any of these behaviors are still affecting our adult relationships now and what can be done about it. What happens in your relationship after a fight or spicy disagreement? Is there a behavior that is common in dysfunctional relationships, such as moving on as if nothing has happened? So there are no apologies and not even some kind of discussion about what has happened and how can we improve from this and all that. It's just moving on as if nothing has happened. And it's also that kind of idea of forgiving and forgetting whatever has happened. Therefore, there is no change in behavior, no real change, because that fight or that kind of tension is going to repeat again and again and again. The second set of behaviors that we bring from dysfunctional families is all about secrecy. Of course, everyone is entitled to privacy. However, I'm talking about secrets that are held, although another person should be informed about it. So it's kind of withholding the information from the person who should know about it. So these secrets are not personal secrets. These are secrets that should be shared between family members to stay in the family. And also, when those secrets, let's say, or some kind of problems actually come up to the surface, into the awareness, there is a tendency to cover it up and again minimize it or say it's not happening, or well, you know, it's not that bad, and yeah, sometimes it gets like that, but that kind of behavior. The third set of behaviors is actually huge, because I see that in work with my clients, I see that in my personal relationships sometimes, and this is something that is very deeply personal. So it is pretending to be fine when you are not. So it's not expressing your own thoughts, not expressing your own feelings and perceptions, because, you know, there are consequences for that, for example. But at the same time, that is how we betray ourselves. Pretending to be fine when we are not is, first of all, lying to ourselves and other people, because you see how everything is actually included in the same cycle. If you don't express how someone's behavior is affecting you, that behavior will continue and they will think nothing of it, that person who's doing that behavior, because nobody's saying a word, nobody's expressing what's really going on. So they will just continue doing whatever benefits them in whichever way. So this is huge in terms of our personal relationship to ourselves, first of all, but as anything, that will be mirrored in our adult relationships big time. Number 4 would be also around boundaries, but this is more specifically being around people that are not good for you, or they are straightforward harmful. Okay, so dysfunctional families, obviously, there might be alcohol abuse, drugs, neglect, physical, emotional abuse, and anything that goes into that dysfunction. It does have kind of different parts of it that are harmful, that could be harmful. And this behavior also becomes normalized within us, like being around those people that are harmful for us. So it is difficult then in your adult relationships to stay away from people who aren't good for you, who aren't good to you and aren't good for you and around you, you know? So we cannot so easily just say, hey, that doesn't work for me, not gonna get involved in this, and I'm moving that way, away from harm. This is a behavior that we will stay in the harm's way. We will put ourselves in the harm's way because somewhere in our subconscious that is normalized. The fifth set of behaviors is all about control. So something that is also normalized from dysfunctional families is that if you want to get something, you're going to go and do that in ways of control, manipulation, or straightforward by aggression and force. So like I said in the beginning, these are behaviors, set of behaviors that a lot of people find normal because this is what they learned, and we learn what we live through. And this is something that can be noticed in your current adult relationships, and just notice it if that's happening. If you are doing this, if your partner is doing this, and just know that this is the subconscious pattern that came from somewhere. This was modeled to you, and whether you are aware of it or not, it is running in your relationships. So in order to shift that, we need to put awareness on it first and just acknowledge, oh wow, I am actually doing this. And the funny part is that so many clients they say that they don't want to be like their mother or father, but they find themselves doing the exact same thing and they don't know how to shift it. So these relationship patterns have been running for decades. Of course, it will take time to shift them, especially in the practical side, because the shift in your subconscious can happen like that. And will still take time to integrate that change and actually play it out in your relationships. So that will take a little bit more time, but the shift and disconnection from these patterns can happen really fast. So if you're listening to this video and the light bulb of awareness is popping up and suddenly you can see that perhaps you are exhibiting some of these behaviors, or your partner is, or other people in your life, and you want to shift that, and you don't want your relationship to deteriorate even more, and if you continue running the same old pattern, you know exactly where you're going to end up, because you already seen that in your past. Maybe you can still see it in your present. What has happened to your family? What kind of relationships they are running? Have they changed? Are they still same old? Do you want to be that? Do you want to get there? Because this is kind of a trajectory if these subconscious patterns aren't interrupted and something new is created, something more beneficial to you and people around you. So the way I help my clients to resolve these behaviors is not by changing a behavior and suddenly saying, well, you know, apologize and don't just storm like that and be nice. It's not like that. These are subconscious behaviors, and in order to shift that, we need to go into the subconscious and have a look what's going on there. And if we don't, it will still the change will still be on the surface. Therefore, these unconscious behaviors will keep popping up more often. And once we finally address the problem where it actually exists in the subconscious mind, we can shift it for the permanent effect. Right? So there is no coming back to relive, react, and re-entertain the same kind of dynamics of the dysfunctional family that you copied. It's time to create something new. And therefore, that means it doesn't need to be deleted or anything like that. It just needs to be looked at. It needs to be understood. It needs to be shifted from the place where it exists, because only then it will have a permanent effect. So I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you've noticed anything like this in your life growing up, and perhaps you are seeing this now in your current relationships. And if you need more information about these subconscious work that I do with my clients, please just let me know. I'm always happy to connect. Bye for now.